So here we have Eye on the Candy, my 16 two-hand thoroughbred gelding, who's a 6-year-old. And this is sort of a funny ride because I had actually wanted to go ride him out in the field today. However, it turned out to be quite a bit chillier day and extremely windy. And all of the horses were just a little bit more up today just because of the wind. It was quite gusty and, everything's moving around. So, nonetheless, I had actually planned to ride several horses in the field today, and I decided to wait for a better day. And I'm very happy with my decision. So, I sort of I scratched the plan to ride in the field. So then I thought, okay, well, whatever. We'll just do a little flat ride in the ring. And if it's good, we'll take some video. And I will say that the winds and, just sort of like the environment, which causes them all to be a little bit more up on a day like today, it forced me to ride him a little bit more um, decisively, just a little bit sharper with my aids about correcting his imbalances or when he comes above the contact. And that actually was so effective for him. I thought that he went like the nicest he's ever gone. And as I had him more connected and rounder, his tongue hardly ever came out at all. So I really do believe that this will go away with training and strengthening. And the more connected he is, the less the tongue comes out. So I really do believe that as he progresses in his training, it will all but completely go away. And I was really happy with him today. I just thought he showed great progress. I thought I could tell that Alyssa had had a great ride on him because he just felt super straight and in between my aids when I got on. So I really, it wasn't the ride that I had intended on having today, but it really made me feel good about where he's at and the direction he's headed in. So when we're working with this horse on the flat, obviously he's extremely uphill, which is great. It's why he has this marvelous canter that you're looking at. I'm always thinking about trying to ride the neck down. Of course, we always want to ride to the opposite of what their natural tendency is. So right here, coming down this long side, those are some great steps where he sort of started to think about lowering the entire frame of his neck. I don't really want him to be any rounder in the sense of he's on the vertical or sometimes slightly behind the vertical. So I don't really want him to tuck his nose in anymore. I just want him to take the base and middle part of his neck. And so right there, those are some good steps, and just to lower the whole frame. And you'll notice that we're just making poles part of our routine. He finds the footwork out of the canter very easy. He's very clever with his feet. I really think this is going to be a fantastic jumping horse. He has the right attitude and just such a great balance in the canter. So the other thing we're working on, besides just sort of helping his neck find the correct lower frame, is our canter transitions. He's a very quiet horse naturally, but for whatever reason, he spent probably 4 years of his life on the track. He just gets a little scooty sometimes into the canter transition. He doesn't do anything naughty. He's not trying to take off with you, but he just sort of scoots out from under you for a couple of steps. Sometimes the first time or two you ask for the canter. And so the poles also help to aid that transition and to smooth it out a bit. And then, of course, if he doesn't get it over the pole, it's no big deal. I'm just sort of gently asking on the other side. And a couple of times he gave me some nice transitions where I do think that he is starting to get the idea. And it was extra impressive today because the wind and everything, it's just sort of a gusty day. I quite like where his frame is there. Maybe his nose could be poked out a little bit more. And here in this corner, you see he sort of tightens up a little bit. The pole came up. Here we're having a little conversation about trying to get him to soften a bit more, to bend, to flex right a little bit. Let me get my inside leg on. The left is definitely his little bit more natural direction. So then here in this corner, these are some beautiful steps. And if you look at my inside hand, I tried to reward that by some nice softening and giving on that right rein. And that felt really good around that corner. And right here coming into this corner, I think that's quite nice for him. Yeah, and here's good because he sort of pokes out. He keeps his frame low, but he pokes his nose out a little bit. And for whatever reason, right here on this part of this long side, this is the part where he has the toughest time staying wrapped around my inside leg. And there we go. We get back the nicer frame there. He looks like he's looking at something off in the distance. It's a little bit tight there. I'd like for him to soften and lower a bit, like right about there. Yeah, that felt really nice. So when he gives me this sort of softening feeling, I try to just always be putting my inside hand forward, encouraging him to come out to the end of the rein and to come meet my hand in a more forward position, like right about there, to get that nose out. And he's still in the Hermspringer. This is the Hermspringer D-ring. Definitely think that this bit or this style of bit is his jam right now. So in the canter, it's the same thing. Actually, that's quite nice right there. Some nice flexion to the right. I'm trying to keep him around my inside leg as we come down this long side. And actually, I would say it was better in the canter than it was in the trot. And I always prefer that because, oh, so here he's just a little bit behind the vertical. I'd like him to poke his nose out more. But it's always easier to fix the trot work than it is to fix anything in the canter. I quite like that shape that he's making here around this corner. That's really good. So the fact that it's easier for him to flex right in the canter and keep the positioning just is going to make the rider's job so much easier as he starts jumping. I thought that was a really nice balanced circle he gave me. And then I had thought we might try to come to this in the canter, but he broke to the trot, and that's fine. It was a balanced trot, and he cute little jump over the flower boxes. And then this horse is just so darn balanced in the canter that for him, coming around the corner in a counter canter is just no big deal. There we go. So he wanted to trot over that pole, which is fine. I don't want them to think that they have to rush and get goosed into the canter over a pole. But so then if they don't pick up the canter over the pole, then I just sort of see if I can just gently coax them into the canter. And actually, that was a pretty good right transition for him. And there, he was positioned for the canter. He just didn't step